Mr. Speaker, last year the government set a budget for core government expenditures of $12 billion and $99 million. In her recent budget, the finance minister and her government show that they will come in at $130 million over budget for these expenditures.
It's normal for
this
them.
has become a pattern for this NDP government of overexpending.
You're right.
I asked the finance minister if she can explain to Manitobans why her government consistently spends more than budgeted on core government activities.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I will refer the member to the third quarter report, and it shows that in the expenditures for the last quarter, $100 million of that is set aside in order to provide for flood settlements with First Nations people. That is what that money is for. And if the member opposite thinks that that was a bad decision, that we shouldn't set aside that money for flood victims, he's free to say that.
The finance minister should have put the contingency aside at the beginning of the year so she wouldn't have had this problem of overexpenditure, and overexpenditure. Cumulatively, since 1999, the NDP have racked up almost $3 billion in overexpenditures. If the NDP government had not overspent on so many items in so many budgets, they would have had more than enough funds to adequately address the current crisis in childcare and early childhood education in our province. I asked the government why they have so poorly managed the province's finances that they've shortchanged mothers, fathers, and children who desperately need access to early childhood education and childcare.
So essentially what the member is asking me, why are you spending so much money when you should be spending more money? That is what he's just essentially asked. But I will tell the member opposite, in this budget, there's $5.5 million for child care. That was an announcement that has been greeted with enthusiasm by those in the child care field. And even when there was the greatest recession going on since the Great Depression, even when things were challenging here in the province, we kept that commitment to child care centres. We didn't do what members opposite did. We didn't cut those centres. We didn't stall the building of those centres. We continued to invest in childcare because we know that it's an economic necessity and important for our children. We are making progress towards a balanced budget. We are doing better each year, and we'll continue to make that progress. But we'll do it in a responsible way, and that means that we will not take the advice of members opposite.
Please. The minister's time has expired.
Mr. Speaker, the problem is that this government has overspent so much in so many areas that they don't have the adequate funds in this budget to address what is a real and desperate childcare crisis in this province. They budgeted for 1,000 spaces when we need 10,000.
No priorities.
This is really hopelessly inadequate when we've got so many single parents, so many two parents who are both working, who need the child care. This is a big problem. This government has hardly touched the surface of the crisis that exists. I asked the finance minister, why wasn't she thinking about mothers and fathers and children in our province when she made her budget? Why did she shortchange mothers, fathers, and children by underfunding childcare and early childhood education?
Thank you very much. Well, we will see soon, Mr. Speaker, where the member's opposite allegiance lies when he votes on this budget. He can decide if he wants to stand with funding childcare, adding $5.5 million to that budget, increasing the amount that the most vulnerable people in our society have in order to afford decent housing. He can decide if he wants to vote with a budget that invests in skills training, that invests in job creation to create economic success. Or he can stand with the members opposite, who have very clearly laid out what their plan is, to cut deeply into the services that matter to families, to lay off and fire people, to return the province to recession, to go back down the path that didn't work in the 90s. He will soon be able to decide whose side he is on, Mr. Speaker.